And this snake changed tremendously. Wow, is this much, much nicer even than it was last week. This is the creme de la creme. This is our Mandarin albino pied. What's up, snake fans? Dave Palumbo here from Muscle Serpents Daily, and we're back in action. Took a little bit of a break last week. It was a busy week. Pablo's back today, so everything should be back in order, and we'll start building our display cages again, putting our lights in, and taking care of all the things that make the facility so fun. No babies over the weekend, but we did have a clutch in the incubator that shed out, and you know the clutch I'm talking about, the albino Mandarin pied. So without further ado, let's get going and take a look at that clutch among some of my other favorite things in the facility. It looks like we picked up a chicken. There's a rogue chicken in the neighborhood that has decided to take up residence in the Palumbo compound here. And I don't know if it might be a rooster. It looks like it's just rained here, so maybe it's looking for worms. It's going to fertile pastures. I bet if I walk over there, it'll probably run away. Dum da dum da dum da dum da dum. Jedi, look at the chicken. You want to go get the chicken? You don't like the chicken on your property? He's like, I don't like anyone intruding on my territory here. You're supposed to be guarding the property. We got chickens. You gonna go find some eggs? There he is. The one and only Jedster. The Jedi Master himself. All right, here's my albino pied to Mandarin doublehead albino pied clutch. I had 3 babies. They hatched last week. I showed you them. Now they just shed out, so I wanted to kind of just give you an update on this clutch. And as you can see, this is a Mandarin right here that's a doublehead albino pied. Clearly a Mandarin, it's not a normal. It's the only thing it could be. You can see the reddish colors in there. You can see the disruption of pattern. You can see the darkness in the dark. Definitely, Mandarin definitely darkens the dark, and it reddens up the rest of it. And this is a classic Mandarin. I wouldn't say it's a super high expression, but it's definitely not low expression. To me, this is a pretty high expression Mandarin. You can see the het pied markers too. See these railroad tracks that are on the bottom of its tail. There's 2 parallel lines right on each side. That's your pied markers. Now I don't need to know I have pied markers, because I know the male was an albino pied, so this has to be doublehead albino pied. So very nice Mandarin. Like I said, I haven't sexed them yet. This one might be for sale, so if anyone's interested, you can let me know. But a nice Mandarin representation. All right, now this one really got much better since it's shed. It was a little dark before it shed last week. Now you can really see this is a Mandarin pied. So you can see that the dark head is much darker. The dark areas on the body stay very dark with Mandarin. You get a lot of this reddish tinging in here. It's not an orange dreamish look. It's much darker. It's a rusty color almost. Works really well with pied. Mandarin pieds are really nice looking when you get a good representation. This is I would call this a higher expression Mandarin pied, because I think the reds are really much redder than the ones I've produced in the past. I really love the way this looks. It disrupts pattern, and we get a little face here. It looks like a little 2 eyes and maybe a mustache or a mouth. A little weird hair doing it. But this is a typical Mandarin pied. This is 100% het albino as well. So a very valuable snake that we produced here. Beautiful, great coloration as well. And this snake changed tremendously. Wow, is this much, much nicer even than it was last week. This is the creme de la creme. This is our Mandarin albino pied. So we hit everything we wanted to with this snake. Obviously, it's albino and it's pied. You can see that, but you can see that this does not look like a typical albino. It actually wiped out the albino pattern almost, and it just gave it this, like, you can see the hints of it, the rust here. that reddish rusty look. It's probably one of the most beautiful looking albinos I've seen. I think Mandarin albinos and super Mandarin albinos down the road are going to be very valuable. Obviously anything with pied looks great, but I think we're going to see, you know, no one ever really liked albino clowns because they look just like albinos. I think Mandarin albino clowns are going to be amazing, to be honest with you. We can produce some of those down the road. I think the Mandarin adds another level of contrast to these snakes. This might be my favorite. I dare I say, I've said this before, this might be one of my favorite snakes I've ever produced. I really like this combination. I can't even imagine what a super Mandarin albino pied would look like. And we obviously have an ability to make these now down the road. So here, just to compare, here's our Mandarin pied, and then there's our albino Mandarin pied. Two exquisite snakes. Think about it. We hit all this greatness with 3 babies. You know, we didn't have to play the odds game. The odds were really in our favor, or weren't in our favor, I should say. But the odds gods were blessing us. That's for sure. Beautiful, beautiful snakes. Wow, this is some coolness. 2 snakes shed at the same time. That's my blue line male, as you can see. And he is breeding my blue line female. Now, he's much more extreme than she is. I paid a lot more money for him, too. But yeah, he's my blue line, and he is being repaired with the blue line female from 2 years ago. So she got the year off last year. I'll show you some of the blue lines, just a little update on the babies we did produce from these 2. He actually bred another female last year, and we produced some really nice half blue line sun glows that I'm growing up. I haven't really shown you much of them since they were born, but hopefully we're going to produce some more spectacular blue line stuff this year. These guys seem to be interested. They're not locked yet, but it's still very early in the season. I just kind of threw them together because I knew I wasn't going to be feeding for 3 weeks because Pablo went away, and so I figured let's get a head start on these guys, and they seem to be enjoying each other. More blue lines. All right, checking out my water monitors, see what's going on out over here. It's funny how at the end of the day, it's only 3:30, and they're already, like, maybe because of daylight savings, it's kind of really like 4:30. They're already like buckling down and like taking a nap for the day. They're going to sleep. Let's see if we can get this guy to come out and say hi. Come here. They sleep in the water sometimes. I see them in here, taking a snooze. Usually for the night, they'll buckle down in the bedding there, but during the day they'll take a snooze. They'll lay in here for hours. They really, really love the water, you know. And I guess that's why they're called water monitors. No, they do. They do love. They need to have a fresh water bowl, a fresh like tub like this where they can just lay down and soak. They really, really enjoy it. It relaxes them, and they do all their pooping in here and peeing. So I don't think I've ever changed. I've had these snakes for 6 months. I've had these water monitors for about 3 or 4 months. We've never changed this bedding ever. It doesn't. There's nothing in it. They don't go to the bathroom in here. They only they lay in it. That's about it. And so makes kind of you just have to. It's just a daily chore. You have to go in here and change both the tub and then the water bowl, because if they defecate in there, you want to give them a water bowl to drink too. So, but if you do that, they're very successful. They're, very easy to handle and take care of. And, they get a little bigger. Obviously, they need more room. But right now, I have 2 together still in here. I'll just leave her alone. Yeah, see, she's bedding down for the night. She's already going to sleep. This girl. She's like, I had enough. She's like, I ate. I have a nice full belly. Pablo just fed us. He's back from his vacation. And he gave us a bunch of quail, probably a mouse or 2. And they're just like, I don't want to be bothered. I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to take my nap. I'll wake up tomorrow morning and start playing again. In the early morning, they're always up, trying to come out, and they want to, see what's going on. But as the day goes on, usually, like I said, around 3:30, 4:30, around there, they're just like done. They're like, that's it. We're sleeping. We're gonna do some growing. They know that when they sleep, they grow. It's like a baby or a bodybuilder. I always tell the bodybuilders, the more you sleep, the bigger you're gonna grow, because your body's gonna recover from all that gym work you did. As long as you eat enough food, you got the raw materials to build that muscle. Same thing with these guys. They're rodents, so they'll eat quail, and then they sleep. And the next day they wake up and they're bigger. That's just the way it goes. All right, a little update on our patternless emerald tree boas. Or tree boa. We only have one of these guys. And I'd like to put them in a bigger tub, I think. A little more naturalistic setup. We have a couple now with the new cages we bought. Pablo wasn't here, so I really wasn't moving anything around yet. So I think as Pablo gets caught up with all this stuff, we have to set some lights up and stuff like that. And I wouldn't mind putting this little boy or girl, we haven't really sexed these, into a nice cage, display cage. We can kind of like move around and change, where it wants to go. It's amazing how dry it is in my facility. I mean, we spray this like 3 times a day, and it's still so dry in here. It's amazing. You got to keep these guys really moist. Let's see. There's our basin, who's just starting to turn green. Finally. Hopefully, this little boy will be green soon enough. Let's see what he looks like. He was really orange when I first got him, so now he's got the green colors going in. I love when they're in this midst of change, and they just get these wacky looking intermediate colors. It's like the leaves falling off a tree in this autumn, and then they start turning orange and yellow and all kinds of different colors, except the leaves go from green to orange to brown. These guys go the opposite direction. They go from like a red or orange to or a yellow even, to a green. So we'll see. But speaking of turning green, let's take a look at our Rhino Rat snake female. She should be turning pretty green by now. There she is, and yes, she is. She is turning green, greenish blue. She's theoretically a blue line Rhino Rat snake. We'll see how blue she gets. Her brother, or half brother, is very green. You're supposed to turn blue. This one looks a little bluer. This one's in shed right now anyway. Look at its eye. But it's definitely changing, and that's a good sign. It's almost a year old. It's probably a year old now. So they usually change around a year. And when she gets she's a little bigger now, so we can definitely put her into some sort of a display cage very shortly. The reason we kept her in here for when she was little is because she was like a little worm, and she was so easy to escape. I think she actually did get out once, and then we caught her right away. Luckily, we went nuts until we found her. But yeah, you got to be careful when they're really small, because they can slip out through the smallest of cracks. You don't want to do that. So very nice. All right, she's already taken off. All right, here's one of our blue line babies that we produced from that pair of blue lines I just showed you before. This is a Sun Glow blue line sharp albino. He's actually put on some good size. He's actually finally getting bigger. He was taking forever to grow. He was little. He is nasty. I don't know what his problem is. The parents are so nice. He is just very gets in a bad mood. But he's changed so much since we got him. I mean, look at the crazy contrast in this guy. He's got blues and oranges and yellows in him, whites. He's definitely getting more of his adult colors for sure. And we'll keep growing him up. Hopefully another year or so, maybe we'll be able to breed him. He's still pretty small. He's only a year old. These boas need to be at least 2.5. the males to breed. I've said it the other day, I don't know how anyone can get these things to breed at a year old. Even when they're big enough in size, they just don't know what to do. I don't know, the males need maturity. These are not ball pythons. Boas are completely different. You just cannot get them to breed just for the sake of the fact that they're bigger. There's a maturity level that needs to be achieved with them, especially with the males, where they just don't do anything. They're big enough, but they don't know it's like they don't know what to do, or maybe they're just not sexually mature yet. Let's take a look at another one. All right, there's a female that we produced, same litter as the one I just showed you. This one's got a lot more saturation in them, in her, I should say. It's like the whole body is covered with like that bluish tinge, and I think she'll make some great babies, even if like maybe even breeding the male I showed you to this girl. She's got a lot going on, and I love how the whole body is saturated, you know, not just like splotches. Let's take a look at another one. All right, now here's another male that's might be actually more saturated with blues than the one I showed you initially, which was just the coolest looking male. He's the coolest, but this one has got like a lot going on. I mean, there's not one speckle of this guy's body that doesn't have blue filling in normally where there would be white, you know? And I think he's gonna make some really nice babies too. Trick is to keep the bluest of the blue and then breed them together to keep propagating a bluer and bluer look to the future generations. So we'll take a look. We'll keep an eye on this guy. Keep feeding them. They're almost at the stage where they can start eating like small rats. Once they do that, we're gonna see huge progress. All right, a little update on the blood pythons. There's our male albino. We'll hunker down. They really seem to like this cocoa blocks, and I keep them, you know, they really seem to like the cocoa blocks. I keep it really damp. I spray it every day. So I know that they like extra humidity, these snakes. They do well with humidity. And here's the female. And they're both T-negative albinos. One's a possible matrix. We'll see. At some point we'll breed these guys together, probably a few years from now. I've never done blood pythons, so I had picked these up in Daytona, and they've been doing pretty good. So they haven't eaten for 3 weeks though, since Papa went away. Everything's eating this week though. Everything is being massively fed this week, and sometimes it's good to give your snakes a little time off. You know, it gives them rest their digestive system. Gives them a chance to kind of like, especially the snakes that are going into the breeding season, you can kind of kick them into breeding gear sometimes, not feeding them. And it's not the end of the world, you know. Snakes are not like mammals where they need to eat every single day. And in fact, sometimes it's good to give them a little change. I gotta start taking these guys out a little more because I'm gonna be able to handle them when they're big. They're really cool. I'm actually really digging these guys a lot, which is not good because when I start liking something, then I want to buy more of them. That's always dangerous. And I really like the leucistic one that was just produced. And that's also dangerous because it's very expensive. Yeah, we'll wrap up today with one of my favorite colubrids in my collection. This is my T-positive het splotched Nelson's milk snake. I have a T-negative too, but I really love the T-positive. I love that creamy look to it. It's got a little bit more contrast than the T-negative. It's got like a interesting eye too. It's not red, but it's like a dark ruby red almost. And this little boy has put on a lot of size since we got him. He was a little worm, and now he's a big worm. No, seriously, he definitely looks cool. I can't wait till they're really big and I can kind of just pick them up and be a little bit more rock solid. But they're very cool. I mean, imagine these colors in like a ball python. People would go crazy for this. Some of the colubrids actually have the best colors of all snakes. You know? They kind of rival the venomous a little bit, and I think a lot of them mimic they were venomous, and that's why, that's how they prevent predators from eating them. Really nice. Look how beautiful that boy is. Can't wait to breed these guys. And what's so great about the Nelson's milk snakes is the T negative and T positive genes are compatible with each other. They're allelic to each other, so you produce intermediate stuff. So that's even cooler. All right, let's leave him alone. He's digging his way into hiding. There he goes. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today here at Palumbo's Pythons and Boas. Hope you enjoyed today's video. I am super psyched about my Mandarin albino pied, how beautiful it looks. Still haven't sexed it, so I'm not sure if it's a male or female yet, but a few people have asked me if I'm selling it. I guess everything's for sale for the right price, but I don't really want to sell it. Having said that, hopefully I'll make another one. Greedy, right? If I had two, I'd sell one. So if I do produce another one, I'll probably sell one if someone really wants it that badly. However, having said that, I am really getting into these blood pythons, and I haven't really talked about them too much, but I'm kind of growing up this albino pair that I have, and I want to just see how I like them and, what their personalities are, and, I might pick up a few more of those, you never know. Although I had to do a full inventory count from Florida Fish and Wildlife the other day for my permit, and I have over 1,000 animals total. So of all my animals in my facility, including turtles and tortoises and stuff like that, over 1,000. I can't believe it. Pablo counted them. He's like, yep, you do. We crossed the 1,000 line, which means it's almost time to start listing stuff and selling stuff, because that's a lot of mouths to feed on a regular basis. All right, well, guys, I hope you're enjoying the video. Hopefully this week we'll have a lot of cool stuff for you. We'll get back to the regular schedule of a video every week, although I am getting a cataract surgery, believe it or not. My left eye, I don't know. When I was a kid, I got hit with a rock, and they say that when you damage an eye, it has a much higher likelihood of getting a cataract. So my left eye is getting a little cataract surgery on Thursday, so hopefully I'll still be able to get my videos done. I just might have a pirate's eye patch on at that point. We'll see. All right, guys, if you're loving these videos, show us how much you love them. Hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, hit that like button. I'll see you back tomorrow morning.